Today's incident will wake up your soul. Please watch the incident till the end. Dear friends, a heart-wrenching incident of a poor woodcutter, which your heart will also cry tears of blood. And seeing this scene, people also started screaming. There used to be a woodcutter in the area of Hindustan. He was a very lucky person. The woodcutter's wife was also very pious. Both of them used to worship Allah together. The woodcutter's wife was about to become a mother. Then one day it happened that Allah Pak blessed them with a son as beautiful as the moon. Both the husband and wife loved their son very much. But since the woodcutter's son came into this world, his wife started falling very ill. Despite getting a lot of treatment, the woodcutter's wife left this world. This grief troubled the woodcutter a lot. Now the responsibility of this little life had fallen on him alone. The woodcutter started feeding himself and his son by cutting wood from the forest. Whenever he went to graze the goats, he used to take his son along with him. When his son felt hungry, he would wash the milk of the goats, feed it to him, and put him to sleep under the tree. His goats would roam around eating grass, and he would sit under the same tree to pray. When his goats would come back after eating grass, he would return home with his son and goats. The noble woodcutter did not marry again for the sake of his innocent child. Days passed like this. One day, the woodcutter's son grew up. The woodcutter thought, "Now I will get my son married. When a daughter-in-law comes to the house, she will take care of the household work, and there will be no reduction in my prayers." But the poor man did not know what was going to happen to him in the future. His daughter-in-law was going to make him see stars in the daytime. He had no idea about all these things. Then this. The woodcutter got his son married. There were only 2 rooms in his house. He kept one room for himself. He gave it to his son and daughter-in-law, and in the other room, he used to keep praying to Allah. The son of this old woodcutter started working in the fields. When he used to go to the field for work, he told his wife to take care of Baba Jan, because he has taken great care of me since my childhood till today. Now it is the duty of both of us, husband and wife, to take care of him together. Remember one thing, my Baba Jan is a worshipper. Do not disturb his worship. After saying this, he went to work in his fields. For a few days, the daughter-in-law of the woodcutter kept doing household chores. She also used to wash utensils and cook food, etc. That Allah-loving woodcutter was very happy to see all this. He started thanking Allah, thinking, "For the time I used to spend in work, now I will worship Allah in this time." The Allah-loving old man performed ablution, took the rosary and the Quran in his hand, and went towards the forest with the goats. When he returned home after grazing his goats and started collecting wood, he saw that neither his daughter-in-law had come out of the house, nor was there any food cooked in the house, and no other work was being done. The pious woodcutter thought that perhaps his daughter-in-law was unwell. He quickly went ahead and cooked roti and flour himself and got busy in his prayers. When his daughter-in-law came out of the room in the evening, she was surprised to see that all the work was done and the food was also cooked, and she became very happy. Then every day he started the same drama. Whenever Allah Wala came home, he would see that his daughter-in-law had not done any work in the house. The poor man used to do all the household work and also used to pray to Allah. Because of this, the woodcutter could not even get proper sleep. He started falling sick. One day, he remained busy in the worship of Allah the whole night, so much so that he prayed Tahajjud and Fajr. After this, he kept reciting the Holy Quran for a long time and then went to his bed. He went to the jungle with the goats, and when he came back home, he saw that again his daughter-in-law had not come out of the room. The woodcutter with God thought, "Today again, it seems that my daughter-in-law is unwell, which is why she could not cook food." This woodcutter with God cooked food himself, did all the household work, and then took the goats back home. He went towards the forest. One day, the son of this Allah-loving old man started saying, "Baba, you should not take the goats to the forest, and you should stop taking care of the goats, and also stop cutting wood. Now you do not need to go to the forest, now you should sit at home and pray to Allah." That Allah-loving woodcutter said, "Son, it is sunnah to keep goats, and it is also sunnah to do household work with your own hands. That is why I do my household work. His son said, "No, Baba. Now your old hands do not have enough strength to do the household work yourself. When I was young, you were helpless, but now you are not helpless. The responsibility of the house is of your daughter-in-law, and the responsibility of the house is mine. Now you just sit in the room and pray to Allah. If you need anything, I will bring it for you." The son of the woodcutter said this and went to work in the fields. That Allah-loving old man was sitting in his room and praying to Allah. When he lay down on the bed to rest for a while, his daughter-in-law came rushing into his room and said, "Come on, get up. You have had enough rest. Now get up and do all the household chores. I've been waiting outside for so long for the old man to get up and work." He got up, and after getting up, slowly came out. His daughter-in-law was also following him, shouting, "Come on, clean all the utensils." And yes, after cleaning the utensils, sweep and mop everything too. How long will you sit at home and eat free food? And yes, even if your wife was alive, even then, I would have made you do the same work. The poor man started cleaning the utensils, coughing. After cleaning the utensils, his daughter-in-law brought a bucket full of clothes in front of him and started saying, "Wash all these clothes and spread them." The clothes were not even half washed yet when the azan of Zohar was called. That old man started doing wudu. Immediately after doing wudu, he grabbed the chai namaz to spread it. Then the daughter-in-law grabbed the chai namaz and threw it away and said, "What is this way? Leaving work, you keep doing namaz all the time. Have you seen the condition of your room? Your bed keeps stinking all the time." When she again spread the zai namaz, she came and stood on top of the zai namaz and caught hold of her father-in-law's arm and got all the clothes washed forcefully. After washing the clothes, this old man thought that now I should do the zai namaz, but his daughter-in-law came and started giving orders again and said, "I used to make fresh milk tea and drink it in my house in the afternoon. Since I have come here, I have not been able to have fresh milk tea, and on top of that, all the housework has been entrusted to me." Old man, listen to me carefully. When your son leaves the house, you should do all the housework yourself. I am not your father's servant that I should cook food for you. The woodcutter used to work all day and used to worship Allah Ta'ala as much as possible, hiding from his daughter-in-law. And due to old age, he had become very weak. One day he was tired of doing the housework all day, and then he also kept on praying to Allah. He could not sleep properly, and even in his sick state, he was busy in the worship of Allah the whole night. When he prayed Fajr, he kept on reading the Holy Quran for a long time. This routine had been going on for 3 days. He would pray at night and spend the whole day working. He would keep on mentioning Allah all the time because he was thinking that for a long time I had not prayed to Allah properly. On the 3rd day, when the woodcutter started washing the utensils were falling from his hands, and they were not getting cleaned properly. The woodcutter's daughter-in-law picked up the utensils and started hitting them on the woodcutter's hands. She said, "Clean these utensils again. We are not animals who will eat food in dirty utensils." This poor woodcutter again collected all the utensils and started washing them again. While cleaning the utensils, suddenly darkness came in front of his eyes. Due to dizziness, the poor man fell on those utensils. This cruel daughter-in-law did not pity this poor man even once. She tried to wake him up by kicking him with her shoes, but he did not wake up, even after kicking her. So she started saying, "Old man, you keep on acting all the time." She went and lay down in her room. As soon as she heard the sound of the door opening, she quickly came out running. That woodcutter was lying face down in the utensils in such hot sun. His son came running to his father and saw his wife. "Baba, why are you lying in the utensils?" Was Baba washing the utensils? "Look, there is soap on his hands too." His clever wife said, "I did not make him do any work. He has had a habit of doing his work himself since the beginning. Now do not waste time in talking and take him to the doctor quickly." His son quickly took him to the doctor. The doctor also gave him medicine and said to take special care of his diet because he has become very weak. "I think he is not getting enough sleep. He is tired all the time. If the woodcutter wanted to, he could have told everything to his son, but he was a follower of Allah, so he did not want to ruin his son's home. The next day, when his son went to the fields again, the woodcutter's daughter-in-law immediately came to his room and said, "Oh, old man, get up. How much more will you pretend? See how much dirt is lying in the house. You need rest." The woodcutter got up with great difficulty, taking the name of Allah, and started coughing as soon as he got up. He was having difficulty breathing while coughing. So the poor man thought, "Let me first make tea and drink it so that my throat gets some relief. After that, I will wash the utensils." He had just picked up the utensil to make tea when the daughter-in-law came to him with a broom in her hand and said, "Let's go, clean first." Due to illness, this poor man had cleaned only a little in 2 hours, and then he started taking long breaths again, and he thought that everything would keep happening. Why not first of all, let me recite the Holy Quran? The woodcutter gathered courage and started doing ablution. With trembling hands, he opened the Holy Quran and started reciting it. When the cruel daughter-in-law came to know that the old man is reading the Holy Quran, she immediately brought a broom and started beating him with it. She started hitting him, but the poor man kept reciting the Holy Quran silently. This cruel daughter-in-law hit his shoulder with the broom 3 times. The poor man was shedding tears of pain and quickly stood up and started saying, "Daughter, now I don't have the courage to work. I don't have the strength to do any more work. I have worked all my life, but now I don't have the courage. What should I do?" She started saying, "When there is azan, then you get a lot of courage. You have to do a lot." He gets time and starts praying, and in the name of work, you die, old man. Listen to one thing carefully. You keep banging the ground all day. After today, if you do anything like this in front of me, I will throw you out of this house. And you also spend a lot of money. So much money is spent on medicines. Now clean the whole house quickly. Your son is about to come. If you try to tell anything to your son, I will ruin your son's house." The woodcutter remained silent on hearing her threat. Then he went to the room and started looking for the medicine. When he came out after finding the medicine, he took a glass of water and started taking the medicine. The cruel daughter-in-law took the medicine and threw it in the garbage and said, "You are not going to die so soon. You are very fine." Then this poor old man, a devotee of Allah, cleaned the whole house with a heavy breath. That poor woodcutter, when he prayed to Allah at night, he would do it secretly from his daughter-in-law and would talk to his Allah that, "Oh God, my heart wants me to go far away from this house because I am not able to pray properly by staying in this house." That old woodcutter sat in his prayer all night and kept crying. He kept thinking about this dilemma and what should I do? He finished his prayer of tahajjud and performed his prayer. He took the rosary and the Holy Quran in his hand and left the house towards some forest. The azan of Fajr was resonating. That man of Allah did not know where he was going. Cold winds were blowing on the way. It seemed to him as if everything on the chariot was singing the praises of Allah. He also went under a tree and sat down and started praying to Allah. Then he heard the sound of a child crying. The child was crying very loudly, as if the child was in great pain. When he opened his eyes, a man was running away carrying the child. That woodcutter came towards him and started asking, "Why is this child crying?" He was just worried about his child's pain. He just wanted to get rid of his child's pain, and he wanted to take him to a doctor as soon as possible. That man ignored the woodcutter's words and went ahead. The woodcutter from behind said that if this child is not treated within 5 minutes, then the poison of this poisonous thing will spread in his entire body. Now that man was surprised that how did this old man come to know that my son had been bitten by a poisonous thing? That man quickly came forward towards the woodcutter and said, "Can you treat my child? My son has been bitten by a snake." The woodcutter made the child lie down on the ground, held the child's hand, and started reciting something from his mouth. After reciting Kalma Pak, this old woodcutter once put his rod on the place where the child was bitten, and then he repeated this act 3 times. As soon as he did this, The child got up and started walking, and that man fell at the feet of the woodcutter and started thanking him. That man started saying that you have come as an angel for my son, Baba. Who are you? I am seeing you for the first time in this area. Where have you come from? Where is your house? The woodcutter smiled and said, does anyone ever have his own house in this world? We are all travelers here. I just want to worship my Allah. I have always prayed in this jungle. Now I am in search of a holy place where I can worship Allah. The man said, O pious servant of Allah, come to my house. I will arrange a place for your worship in my house. You have saved my son's life. I can do this much for you. The Allah-worshipping elder said, no son, only Allah can save lives. The man brought the woodcutter to his house. He gave a room to the woodcutter in which he used to sit and worship Allah. Only his sister and his younger son lived in this man's house. The man's wife had died, and his sister was not married yet. The girl was also a very pious servant of Allah. He wished that she too should learn Allah's religion and spread Allah's religion further. Then with great love and affection, she brought food for the woodcutter who had received Allah. The woodcutter put his hand on her head with great love and affection and ate the food. She would always sit near the woodcutter. She would always learn about religion from him. She learnt the teachings of the Holy Quran. In this way, by staying in the company of the man who had received Allah, that girl also became a worshipper of Allah. Their house was a little small, but there was peace in it. This man had only 2 goats. But as soon as the old man who had received Allah came there, his goats were blessed. He started getting more and more goats. As soon as he came to his house, this man started feeding fresh goat milk to the woodcutter who had received Allah. When this man told the people of his area that this old man had healed his hands, he had Nurani knowledge, and he also treated people with his knowledge. The people of this area started getting their diseases treated by him. The people of this area respected and loved him a lot. They did not treat him at all. He was a pious servant of Allah. Through the verses of Allah, the woodcutter was blessed with healing. The woodcutter was busy praying all day. Ever since this old man had come to his house, his business was growing a lot. People came to him from far and wide for treatment. Allah had blessed him with healing. The woodcutter was very happy living there. Now his health had also improved, but he used to miss his son a lot and was always worried about what kind of life his son was leading with this woman. On the other hand, his son also worked day and night to find his father. He was always worried about his father. Due to this worry, he was not able to work properly in his fields. His wife was happy that at least the old man was saved. But she did not know that this happiness was only for a few days when the crops would be ready. When the time of harvesting came, all their crops were destroyed and ruined. They suffered a great loss. The goats also stopped giving milk. Most of the goats died due to illness. When the situation in the house became very bad, his wife started showing her true colors. She used to talk back to her husband. She used to quarrel with him all the time. When he did not go to the fields, she used to taunt him and call him useless. She did not even give him proper food. She used to eat very good food, but she used to put whatever was left in front of him. The poor man used to think that maybe everything in the house had finished, and that is why he had to eat roti with water. But he did not know that she ate very good food. He understood from the tone of his wife that because of her, it seemed that my father had left the house. My father used to stay at home and eat well. He used to pray, and because of his prayers, Allah had kept a lot of blessings in our house. Since my father has left the house, the beauty of my house has also gone. Because of his father, he started staying outside the house and also started killing goats, so he would not come home for many days. One day, he went to a businessman in the same area with his goats, where his father used to be a woodcutter. When he went to the businessman, he saw very beautiful goats with him. He thought in his heart that his father also used to have such beautiful goats. The businessmen were talking to each other when their eyes fell on a hut which was looking very beautiful from the outside. It seemed as if someone had built it like a mosque. He was finalizing the deal of goats. He asked the man if someone lived in this hut. The man said that yes, In this hut live very pious and special servants of Allah in whose hands Allah has placed a lot of blessings. Healing is kept in his feet. Allah has kept a lot of blessings. Since he came to this hut, this house has become blessed. People from far and wide come to meet him. He said, "Can I meet this old man because I am desperate to meet him?" The man said, "For this, you will have to wait for a little because this is a time of special prayers for him. Come after Asr namaz." He sat outside under the tree to meet him and waited. Till then, this man also treated him very well. After some time, the Asr azan was called. Both of them offered Asr namaz and again came and sat under the same tree. Only a little time had passed when the door of the hut opened. As soon as the door opened, he got up and stood because there was no one else in front of him. The same woodcutter was his father. When he saw his father after a long time, he saw that this was my father, and that Allah-loving woodcutter also ran towards his son. And then both father and son hugged each other and started crying. That man was looking at both of them with surprise. He started saying to his father, "Baba, I was longing to meet you like a fish, just like a fish longs for water." That old man of Allah also started saying, "Son, I was also longing to meet you, but what could I do? I was helpless here. I was not able to do my prayers properly." That man was looking at him with questioning eyes. The old man of Allah said that this is my son. He was surprised and started saying, "Why did you not tell us that you also have a son?" Then the man of Allah took this man to a different place and started saying that when I used to pray, my daughter-in-law did not let me pray, and I did not want that my son's house should be ruined and my prayers should also be disturbed. That is why I left home and came back. Then the woodcutter of Allah came to his son and said, "Son, whenever you wish, you can come here to meet me." I thought, "No, Babajan, I have searched everywhere for you. Without you, there is no joy in the house and neither do I feel like living in it. That house now seems like a graveyard to me, Babajan. If there is no father's shadow in the house, then it is not a house but a graveyard." He was insisting like a child, "When you have your own house, then why will you stay here?" The father agreed to fulfill his child's insistence. Now when the woodcutter started going back, that man, his sister and his son were crying a lot because they did not want the people of Allah to leave from there, but he was forced to go with his son. His son himself had not come to his house for a long time. When after a long time he entered his house, his wife came running to open the door and asked, "Who is it?" Her husband said, "Open the door, it is me." When she opened the door, her eyes were wide open with surprise on seeing the scene in front of her. She was shocked. After such a long time, this old man has returned, and now he will make our life hell again. Now the woodcutter had understood by looking at his daughter-in-law's face that she was not happy on my arrival. His daughter-in-law went inside without saying salam. When the time came for dinner, the son started going inside to call his father. His wife started saying, "Let him be, let him rest, and I will bring his food to his room." He said, "No, today Babajan will eat with us. Since when has he not eaten with us?" She started eating with a sad face. Now he called the father and son and brought them. When the father and son were happily eating, their daughter-in-law was burning her blood, but the routine of the woodcutter was the same. At night, after Isha namaz, he would remain engaged in prayers for a long time and would recite tahajjud, morning namaz, and the Holy Quran till the sun rose. She kept doing this and was tolerating all this silently because at that time her husband was present in the house. When her husband went out of the house, she went straight to the woodcutter's room, kicked his bed with her foot and said, "Get up, old man. From where did you come to our house again to eat rotis? We are already dying of hunger." I was thinking that by now someone must have died by drowning. The poor old woodcutter got up as usual and started cleaning silently. After washing the utensils, he washed all the clothes and was cleaning his room when his son came. When the son saw that my father was cleaning, he said, "Baba, what is the need for you to work? Your daughter-in-law will do all this. Why do you get worried?" Hearing this, that cunning daughter-in-law also came running and said, "Don't do it, Baba. By doing all this, you are embarrassing us. I will do everything. You just take rest because it is your age to take rest." Now their same life had started again, working every morning, negligence for namaz. While cleaning utensils, suddenly the outside door opened and a girl entered. This was the same girl with whom the old man had stayed. He was teaching him the religion of Allah. When she saw that the woodcutter was washing utensils, she said, "Baba, why are you washing utensils? Where is your daughter-in-law?" When the woodcutter saw this girl, he became very happy and said, "Daughter, actually my daughter-in-law has a severe headache. That is why I thought that I should clean the utensils. You were not looking good lying around with dirty utensils. Tell me, how are you?" She said, "Baba, I am fine, but I'm not feeling like staying in my own house. Ever since you have come from this house, I have not felt like staying here. My brother is also very worried about you and misses you a lot." That girl also told the woodcutter to stay in her house. She considered him like her father because Allah had always given her affection and love. The woodcutter also used to love her like his daughter. And today, as soon as she entered his house and came to meet him, she was saddened to see his condition and said, "Baba Jan, it doesn't look well. Why are you washing utensils in the sun? Let's leave it. I will do this work myself." The girl took the woodcutter to his room. At the same time, his son also came. He started asking his wife, "Who is Baba Jan talking to?" His wife said, "I don't know who this is." Both the husband and wife came and saw who Baba Jan was talking to. Seeing them, the girl stood up. The girl was in a complete hijab. The girl greeted him. He replied to her greeting. Then the woodcutter's son started telling his wife everything because the woodcutter had told his son everything. "Now you are alone, my son." "No, I also have a daughter." He asked his wife for tea and left from there because he knew that this girl observed purdah. His wife said for show off, "I will make tea for you people." While making tea, she was making a face and was muttering in her heart that earlier one old man was not enough. And now, this one has also come. She brought a glass of water for this girl. This girl gave that water to the old man holding a wood and said, "Baba, you are having trouble breathing." Quickly, his daughter-in-law said, "No, Baba, it's okay. I'm just coughing a little." The thing is that Baba starts doing the work himself because it is his habit. Even before I came, he used to do the housework himself. That girl said, "You should not get the housework done by him. If he does the work, then you should catch him and make him sit. You should do the housework yourself and tell him to only pray to Allah for which Allah has chosen you." After this, that girl said, "Baba Jan, do you know that I have also started teaching the Holy Quran to the children?" Hearing this, the woodcutter was very happy and showered love on him. The girl said, "Baba, please pray for me so that I succeed in my aim. You know that my aim is only to make the children Hafiz Quran. You should also take care of your health." Saying this, she went away. The woodcutter was tired after the whole day's work. He was leaning on his bed and reciting the rosary of Darudi Pak. The cruel daughter-in-law came into his room, snatched his rosary and threw it away. She said, "Who will do the rest of the work? Will your father come out of the grave? If you have to live here, then do the work too." He started telling his daughter-in-law that whatever you want to say, tell me, my dear. Don't throw away the namaz and rosary. Don't be so cruel. Allah doesn't like such things. The poor man was still saying something when the cruel daughter-in-law caught hold of the woodcutter, pushed him out of the room and said, "Come on, old man, do your work. If you work with the same speed with which you pray, then the work of hours will be done in minutes." The poor man got up with his trembling legs and started sweeping the courtyard. Because of the unpaved courtyard, a lot of mud was flying. Now because of this flying mud, the woodcutter started coughing. He kept sitting in the courtyard for a long time coughing, but the cruel daughter-in-law did not have any pity on him and said, "Come on, old man, do your work quickly. There is so much work." His daughter-in-law kept him working deliberately even when there was no work. Today the old woodcutter had done a lot of work due to which he had not even eaten food and no namaz was offered to him. Even the namaz was not offered because his daughter-in-law did not let him read namaz. He was crying a lot today, but nobody could stop his tongue from reciting Allah's name. He kept reciting Allah's name with his tongue all the time. That night when he was tired and started laying namaz in the room after performing ablution, he saw that there was no namaz and neither was there a rosary. The rosary was not present, but the woodcutter did not lose courage. He laid a clean cloth and offered namaz and started reciting the rosary on his fingers. In the morning, after the Fajr namaz, he was reciting the Holy Quran. The sound of utensils was coming from outside. The daughter-in-law was throwing her utensils loudly. The woodcutter left the recitation of the Holy Quran and came out and saw that the entire courtyard was covered with utensils and a heap of garbage. Perhaps today his son had gone away early in the morning with the goats. That is why his daughter-in-law was sitting there creating a scene so that he could not pray. His long prayers were not heard. She was very angry with him. Although she was a Muslim, despite being a Muslim, she was very angry with his worship. As soon as the woodcutter started coming towards his room, the cruel daughter-in-law caught him by his hair and threw him down. When he started getting up, she put her shoe on his beard and started saying, "Old man, you will never spare our lives. I can torture you as much as I want. Quickly finish all the work." He did all the household chores and again started reciting the Quran Pak. When his daughter-in-law saw him praying, she came into the room and started beating him with her. But the woodcutter remained busy in his recitation because he knew that he had done all the household chores, and now, no matter what happened, he would not leave here without completing his da'wat. When she had beaten him enough, she saw that he was not even moving from here. "Why don't I throw Quran Pak out of my house? If he doesn't stay, then the bamboo wouldn't play the flute Astaghfirullah." He was to throw away Quran Pak. As soon as she moved forward to touch it, its hands and feet suddenly became crooked. The skin on its face started peeling off strangely. In no time, that woman had assumed the shape of a human dagger. The old man looked back and saw that she was looking at him with a long tongue. The woodcutter came out of the room making the sound of Astaghfar Astaghfar in control. When he looked ahead, it was his son. That is, his son had seen everything with his own eyes. That woman had become a strange, dirty animal and came towards her husband. Her husband was touching his ears on seeing her. Her whole body was like a donkey's. Her mouth was like a dagger, and her hands and feet were like human beings. This was the same woman who used to stop the old man of Allah from praying. Allah made her such a dirty animal that even people used to feel disgusted on seeing her and used to say Astaghfar. Her son threw this woman who had become a dagger out of the house. The woman became a sign of lesson for the people. The children of the area were scared of seeing this woman. People caught her and left her in the jungle, and the wild animals there tore her body to pieces. This news had spread like fire in every region of India. When this news reached the merchant, the brother and sister both came to the woodcutter and, pressing their hands to their ears, said, "Baba Jan, what has happened?" The old man started saying, "Son, if someone is a true Muslim and sees a Muslim offering namaz, then the desire to offer namaz also arises in his heart. But my daughter-in-law was not like that. Whenever I prayed to Allah, she was annoyed with my prayers and used to disturb my prayers. Allah gave her such a punishment and made her a sign of lesson for the people. And anyway, Allah knew that this woman was not worthy of my son. She is my pious daughter." The old woodcutter got his son married to the sister of the trader. Now the sister of this trader opened a small jamia in her house where the children of this area were getting religious education. She was making the children hafiz of the Holy Quran. Now the woodcutter was also very happy with his daughter-in-law, and that daughter-in-law also took great care of the woodcutter and served him. Now their coming home had become a happy family. Dear friends, how did you all like today's Vrat Nark incident? Do express your valuable opinion in the comment box. Don't forget to share and like the video. If you are new to our channel and have not yet subscribed to our channel,